I wanted to start a new vlog. It is officially the start of my vacation week. This week is another staycation. I know that in the last staycation I get around, it was around this, probably the same time last year when I took the week to set up my library. It's gonna change. I have a roommate moving in on like the end of April. So I have plans to redo my bedrooms. There's a lot of like cleaning and organizing to get done, mostly this week. I do want to, at the very, very least, I want to get that room painted. I want to get the library moved in there. And so like the library room as you have it now is going to be pretty much probably empty except for my computer desk. I don't think I'm gonna be able to fit my computer desk in the new library room. I think it's gonna be too small and too tight of a space. For my house is a decent size. I mean, it's a duplex, so it's like a half a house, but it's a decent size. It's just there's just nowhere to put things. There's no closet spaces. There's two closets in the entire house, which is in each of the bedrooms, and that's it. Like I have a full-size attic, a full-size basement, but they're not finished. Like I don't want to put things there unless they're in like tubs and stuff because then they get gross and ruined. So it's just a lot of figuring out where to put things. So like I just need to find, I guess more like smarter ways to utilize the storage space that I do have, which I'm not very particularly good at doing. I have been having an issue. I haven't posted videos in a little while. I'm gonna see if I can post one now. My video editing software on my old laptop was having issues. I mentioned this in a different vlog, but that's like a book specific vlog, and it's gonna go out probably after this one. So I'm gonna say it again in this one. I've been having issues with it. I don't know if it was the computer, I don't know if it was the software. I'm gonna have to figure that out. But the video was my March TBR, which is why you haven't seen it, because I couldn't process it. It was giving me like an error issue with like the audio, and I was getting annoyed with my old laptop anyway because it wasn't working, it wasn't saving things. So we're gonna try it with the new one and see what happens. You're not gonna see the March TBR now. It is March 25th. There's no point to it anymore. But I just want to make sure that it's, I don't know if it's the video clips, the footage, or if it's the actual program, or if it was the freaking laptop. I have no idea. I need to open it up and figure it out. But so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm making my thumbnail for my February haul. It's a crappy rainy day, if you could see behind me. I don't have plans today until about 2 o'clock, so like one-ish is when I'll have to start getting ready. But after that, I'm probably done for the day with doing anything productive at home because I'm going to hang out at a bar with some friends. You all know that's probably not going to end up well. Yeah, so once I'm done with this, I'm actually going to, I found for my March TBR, even though y'all don't know what I'm supposed to be reading, I found 2 of the books on audio on my Hoopla. I want to get reading. I have not been reading a lot in March. My March TBR, I think I've read 1 book off of it. So I really want to make sure I read books off of my TBR to get through to actually read some books for the month so I have something for my wrap up. So I'm going to listen to those. I'm actually charging my headphones right now, which is why I'm doing this, because yeah, I had to fill the time somehow by being productive. That is the key to this week, is being as productive as possible, at least until next weekend before I go back to work. Then I intend on being completely lazy because I feel like that's justified. As long as I'm productive all week. Anyway, it's like 8 a.m. right now. I'm gonna do this. I probably have to actually run to the store. I don't have any eggs. So I want to make breakfast and I have no eggs. Or I'll make a smoothie bowl. Maybe I'll just do that instead. Yeah, so I'm gonna go upstairs. Once I'm done finagling and fiddling with this, I'm gonna go upstairs and start cleaning out the closet in my bedroom. And there's Tyler. Hey, kitty. Yeah, hi. Hello, handsome. Yeah, hi. He's such a funny boy. He follows me around everywhere. Everywhere. You're a good boy. Yeah, you're a good boy. Hopefully this video is gonna be so fucking long. I may end up splitting it into 2 parts. We'll see. But hopefully I'll get you guys some clips of the other cats when I'm, probably not. They're probably gonna run and hide somewhere. It's gonna be a disaster trying to do that room with them. Anyway, I'm gonna go do things now because it has been almost 17 minutes since I started talking and I need to shut up. get shit done and to pick a book to listen to so I can actually talk about reading in this reading vlog. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. So we need to talk about this. I'm currently cleaning out my closet. First off, I started listening to In Bed with the Devil by Lorraine Heath. I'm about a little over 3 hours into it. I'm listening at 2 times speed. But I'm getting a little bit like distracted, so I'm missing some parts. But anyway, I need to show you guys this. We need to talk about this because I knew I had this, but I very rarely bring it out because I have no reason to be honest. This is going to be, the lighting is awful. I apologize for that. But I can't help that. This is the entire Thoroughbred collection by Joanna Campbell. I used to devour this series when I was a kid, like around the time when the Heartland books came out. This was, I think I read these before I started reading Heartland, but this is the entire collection. The final book is down there, number 72. And then there's the spin-off series, the special editions, the prequel series. And then down here is the Phantom Stallion. I think there's like 24 of those books, but I have the entire collection. It took me, it's like 90 some books altogether. It took me years to accumulate this series. I used to buy them as they were being published in the bookstore and Walden Books. If you guys remember Walden Books, I would buy them like new, and then they stopped. Of course, Walden Books closed, and then I couldn't find them anywhere. And so I ended up having to purchase them online, eBay. I got a huge lot off of eBay at one point. I did not read the entire series. I probably read up to like 36 or 30 something. In the main series, there's 72 books. So I never quite got to finish it. I have thrown around the idea of going back and rereading and vlogging the experience. I'm doing like every like the books are like, they're less than 200 pages. They're early, I think, independent reader, like young reader books. So but I remember there was some heavy topics. I remember crying a lot reading these. So I'm considering like doing a vlog for that. I know I'm definitely going to go and do a vlog, spoiler, I don't know when, but to reread the Heartland series because I am obsessed with the Heartland TV show. I love it. I read the series way before the show came out, and I want to go back and reread that series. And I think those books are actually shorter than these, to be honest. And I was going to do like, I think there was like 20 books in the main series and there's like 4 special editions. So I was going to do like 5 books in each vlog and talking about them. And obviously there's going to be TV show comparison, but not a whole lot because the show has been past the books at this point. But yeah, I just wanted to share that because this is one of my like pride and joys, and I just get so excited every time I happen to see them in my closet. It's like 11:45 right now, so I have about an hour or so left to do whatever before I need to get ready. So I'm gonna listen to more of In Bed with the Devil. I am liking it so far. I knew I would. I knew Lorraine Heath has enough like angst and like darkness to her like plots and stuff, and damaged heroes and damaged whatever, like enough dark stuff happens that I knew I was gonna like her writing and her plots. So far I am enjoying this, but like I said, I'm kind of missing, like something just happened and I was like, where our heroine is like cut, like her hand gets cut, like she gets attacked by a knife, and I got to the part where he's like nursing it and I'm like, wait, what happened? Like I totally missed the incident that occurred. So that's the only downside of audiobooks when I'm trying to multitask. So it's always an adventure, even though like I probably go through my closet like once every like 4 or 5 years. It's still an adventure, and I always find more and more crap to throw away because I'm like, why did I keep this? Obviously I haven't needed it in the last 5 years. So yeah, definitely a good time for downsizing and getting rid of shit and going through shit, but also some really good memories. So I'm gonna get back to it. I'm gonna get back to listening some more, and then I'll update you guys at some point later on. Oh, I guess I should probably tell you what In Bed with the Devil is about. So far, it's Lucian, and I think her name is Catherine. I think. So Lucian has a terrible reputation where he like supposedly he was in jail for murder or something happened. He grew up in like a bad, like I don't know if it was like an orphanage situation or like a kind of like a group home or something like that, where he was like a delinquent child on the street. And there was a group of them, which I'm guessing is each of the groups of the kids that were in with this Fagin, I think his name is, which reminds me, I think this is a spoof of Oliver Twist, I think, because he is called Dodger a lot. Like they call him Dodger. So it sounds like it's an Oliver Twist retelling or something like that is what I'm getting at, which I like because it's just interesting because the guy's name is Fagin that took them in. Anyway, yeah, so he has this terrible reputation. He murders the guy who I think he's raped or like assaulted one of his really good friends, Fanny. Killed the guy. He was gonna go get hanged. He was gonna be hanged, and a guy comes in and claims that he's like, oh, you look exactly like my grandson. And it was like, I'm gonna save you from the gallows, but now you're like kind of like in my care now. And that was the whole thing. So we have Catherine. Her best friend is, I think, this is my understanding. Again, I'm only half paying attention because I'm so distracted, but her best friend is married to like an abuser, and she is looking for someone to kill him and knows the reputation of Luke. So she goes to him with a favor. And Luke is infatuated with his friend Fanny, the one he saved as a kid, wants to marry her. She is kind of like she's like iffy about it. And she just feels like this is not going to work between us with you being who you are. Like, I'm not going to fit in. So in exchange for offing Catherine's friend's husband, he wants her to help Franny, like teach Franny the ways of like a higher born lady. So that's pretty much what I've gotten the gist of it so far, that I've got understood and paid attention to. But it's interesting. I really like it. I'm really enjoying it despite missing pieces, but the overall vibe is there, and I'm really liking it. So I'm glad I picked that one to listen to. So, okay, now I'm gonna shut up and go back to doing what I was doing. Hello, it is Tuesday. I don't remember when my last update was, but I finished 2 books. I think I was talking about my closet, the last update I did, and cleaning out. I did clean out the closet in my bedroom. Got rid of like 2-3 trash bags full of stuff. And I finished like 68% of In Bed with the Devil by Lorraine Heath. Just doing that alone. I was listening to it on 2 times speed. So I finished that before I had to go meet my friends, and then I finished it, or I listened to that much before I had to go meet my friends. Then I finished it, I think Sunday, something like that. And I'm gonna give it, I think I give it 5 stars? 5 stars. 5 stars. I did mention that I think they called Luke Dodger was his nickname. It's not. Now I have like something on my screen. Dodger is a nickname of one of the other characters. The Artful Dodger thing is the name of the club, the gaming hell, or whatever the heck it is that everyone is like associated with. But yes, it is definitely an Oliver Twist like retelling, because in it the heroine, her father is ill and she's been reading him the book Oliver Twist, and at the end of it she kind of is like, has like this weird like connection, like this, how what just happened with Luke and like his gang kind of reminded her of the book. So I think that's really funny. Each person in their friend group gets a book, which is really exciting. I don't remember whose is next, but I know Dodger, I don't know if Dodger is the one that, I think Dodger might be the next one. I don't remember. But it was really good, really entertaining. I liked the incorporation of like the lore or the story without being too like corny, cheesy. Which brings me into the next book that I finished reading just today, which was Hooked by Emily McIntyre. Again, this one is a Peter Pan retelling, with Hook being the hero and then Wendy being the heroine. This one I didn't rate yet, but it's probably gonna be like a 3. I expected more from it. I think people say Scarred is a lot better, which is the second book. I think that one's Lion King. It was, I don't know. First of all, I don't like to rag on the narrators because I think every narrator for the most part does a really good job. It was just the voices that they chose, because they are from Boston, so they tried to do like a Bostonian accent for some of them. I'm just like, it was like cringy. And then the male narrator, his voice for Peter was just awful. Like I was laughing when he first talked it as Peter, but yeah, I don't know if it was supposed to be like that or what, but I was just like, oh God, what is this? And like it was good. Hook owns a bar, I think it's called the Jolly Roger or something like that, or his friend, part of the Lost Boys, runs the Jolly Roger Rue, and they have pixie dust as like a drug, and Peter is like his supposedly killed his family, so he's gonna get revenge by taking his daughter, deflowering his daughter and taking possession of her. It's like a whole thing. It was interesting, but it got to be a little bit cheesy. Unlike In Bed with the Devil with the Oliver Twist part of it, like the hook part of it kind of got a little bit ridiculous. They have Tina Bell is Tinkerbell, and like it was just like a lot. It was, I don't know, it felt a little bit too much to me, like over the top too much. And when I thought the book was over, like gonna wind down and be done, like more was happening. I was just like, okay, we're like, can we move along with this? So that was probably a 3. I had higher hopes for it. But I finished 2 books so far, and both of them, not that you've seen my March TBR because I wasn't able to get it up. Both of those were my March TBR. One of them was retelling that I picked. I did do my TBR jar this year, like I said, it was this month, like I said I was going to. And one of them was retelling, and oddly enough, like I picked Hooked for that, not knowing that In Bed with the Devil was also a retelling. So that was fun. I got them both done. So I think I'm doing actually fairly well. It's like the 27th or the 28th. I don't know what the date is. I think it's the 28th. I was listening to Hooked as I was doing the cat room that's going to be eventually at some point soon become my new library. Oh my God, let me tell you, that room was disgusting. Like I was embarrassed for myself because I live in an old house. I've said this before. This house is 100 and I don't know, it was built in 1906, so it's a very old house. There are no closets. We used to use that little room as like a closet, essentially a big closet. And so there was stuff in there that like was stored in there but not moved for a very long time. So like I found some surprises that were not pleasant. I ruined a good pair of pants. I moved everything out. I vacuumed, I scrubbed the floor, and then I painted like the trim and the windows and the doors and stuff in the white. So that's where I'm at so far. I'm taking a break right now because I finished 2 books. I hadn't updated you about either one of them, so I was like, I need to do that before I start anything else. It's probably a little after 1 at this point, so I'm going to eat something and then probably find a new audiobook to listen to while I get work painting the rest of the room. So I don't know if I want to finish painting today so I can start moving things around, let it dry overnight, and start moving things like furniture and stuff around tomorrow. So we'll see, because I know once the weekend hits, I'm going to be super like, my vacation is going to be coming to an end. I'm going to be very like, not want to do anything and just relax and enjoy the couple days I have left. So I want to get as much done as possible today, tomorrow. Thursday, I'm probably not going to be home most of the day, so I don't anticipate really getting anything done then. And then Friday, we'll see how I feel. But Saturday, Sunday, I can guarantee I'm probably not going to be doing anything at all. Okay, I'm going to go take my break and do things. Bye. We're back in the same spot. Although, if you couldn't tell by the lighting, it is many hours later. I just thought I'd give you guys an update because I finished yet another book. And then this is like turning into be like one of the greatest reading weeks I've had in a very, very long time. I only painted like 2.5 walls. I feel like I didn't get much done, even though I read an entire book today alone. So, and most of, I think I started Hooked yesterday. I think I had about 2 hours left, so about an hour and change left of reading that. And then I finished, so the book I read, by the way, is the second book of the Scoundrels of St. James series. Between the Devil and Desire, I think is what it is. It's Dodger and Olivia. and I really liked it. It was so good. This whole series is like, I knew I was gonna like Lorraine Heath because she has a darkness to her plots that I, as a dark romance reader, really, really am drawn to and appreciate, especially for historical romance. So I loved it. There is triggers in this, I think, for most of the series for pedophilia. Dodger, when he was a child, but I think before Fagin took him in, he was assaulted as a child by a horrible person who does come back later on in the book. Yeah, so it was like an 11-hour audiobook, and I finished the whole thing. I mean, I was listening on 2 point. I actually listened to In Bed with the Devil on 2 times speed. This one I was able to get through on I don't know, it was 2.2, 2.3, something like that. So it was an 11-hour audiobook. I listened to it in about 5, maybe 5 or so. So like it was 5 hours and I feel like I didn't get a whole lot done, but I guess I did. I don't know. Taping off the windows and everything did take a little bit of time. The book. I'm giving it 5 stars. I really, really enjoyed it. So we have, this is basically it's interesting. It's not something I don't read a lot of historical romance, but it's not anything I really like had heard of before in a plot wise. So we have Olivia, who is a single mom. Her husband recently died, and she's brought in by the lawyer. I don't know what you would call him in that time, but the lawyer for the reading of the will. And oddly enough, this guy Dodger, who owns this gambling hell gentleman's club, is also at the reading of the will. And she's like, who the hell is this guy? Like, why is he here? Turns out that in the will, Dodger is left as the guardian of her son and like gets the estate and all that kind of everything. And she is like appalled. Like, what is happening? Who do you think you are? Like, it's a whole thing. And they butt heads through a lot of the book. And she wants to just let him have the estate, to have her and her son just leave and go somewhere. And he's like, no, like, your husband put me in charge of, the child is 5 years old, so he needs a guardian, he needs a role model. He's like, I'm not the greatest role model. He's like, but he looks after a lot of orphans and stuff like that at his establishment. He gives them jobs, and just keeps them off the street as much as possible and into less than savory situations like the ones that he grew up in. So he's cares for young boys. He is good with them. So he actually gets along really well with the son. I think his name's Henry, I think is what it is. And I'm actually curious because I know the series after this, I think it deals with the children of the characters in this book. So I'm actually gonna be curious if Henry ends up being one of the books in the next series. I could look, but I'm not gonna bother right now. So there's a lot of animosity between the two of them, but also like really crazy sexual tension, because Olivia's husband, the one that died, had to have been at least, I forget how old she said she was when she had him, but he had to have been at least like 30 years older than her. Or something like that. Like, it was a big age gap. And he pretty much just didn't want anything to really do with her, like, sexually. Like, he did his duty to produce an heir, and then once she was with child, like, he never touched her again. And even when she did crave his, like, affections and crave, like, satisfaction, he would, like, the one time she went to his room, like, he denied her, and she just kind of has not had sex or been with a man since she got pregnant. So there's a lot of, my dog is being insane. Will you stop doing that? So there's a lot of sexual tension on her end. Dodger, obviously being the owner of a gentleman's club, can get it whenever he wants. And he has vowed to never marry, and, it's never a serious relationship with him. It's all about a business exchange for his satisfaction. It was really good. There is, his past comes back to haunt him. There are things revealed that are like, I did expect the one twist at the end. I anticipated that happening. It made sense. So it wasn't a huge surprise, but I'm not docking points for that because I think it was I think it was well done. If I would have just been like not listening and I would have been reading the whole thing, I definitely would have probably been in tears because it was very emotional. It was very good. So yeah, so that was the book I read today. Tomorrow, I'm gonna have to figure out what to read tomorrow. I mean, at this rate, I may pick up book 3 because that's the next one I have. I do have the first 3 books physically of this series, and I want to try to listen to books that I have on my physical TBR. I wanted to start the next Catherine Cowles series, but they took it off of Hoopla. They have the first series. They have Sutter Lake, which I already listened to and finished. They had the Wrecked series. I think they had all of it actually, and then they had like the first 2 or 3 books of the Tattered and Torn series. It's gone except for the Sutter Lake series, and I'm like, where did it go? They took it off. I was like upset, so upset. I do have the first book of the Wrecked series. I can't remember. Reckless Memories, I think is what it's called, something like that. I do have a physical copy of that, but like I wanted to listen to it. But I guess it's better that I've started with getting these historicals because otherwise I probably never would have picked them up, or it would take me twice as long to read them. I don't know why. More than likely, I'm going to pick up book 3 of this series, which I think is Franny's story. Franny and Sterling, which I think is the brother of Catherine from the first book. Tomorrow's Wednesday. I'm going to finish painting tomorrow and then try to figure out how to rearrange things that'll still be functional for the next few weeks. I didn't really pre-plan this, all of it. Like, I should have planned it out better, but I'm just kind of someone who I don't like planning a lot of things. If I want to do something, I just want to dive in and do it, and I get really discouraged when I have to like stop and like work through how the logistics of things. Sorry, it just got dark because my TV went black, but yeah. So I'm really enjoying this series. I'm actually amazed how much I'm flying through books this week. The audiobooks, like I said, they're easy to get through. I tried to find, I still have 2 books on my physical TBR. I need to finish Daisy Jones and the Six. I don't have that much left in it. And then the last book I have on my March TBR, actually I had 2 other books. The Twisted Ones by Darcy Coates, I could not find. I don't think there's an audio of that. There's no audios of any of her books on Hoopla. I need to read that. And I don't think I'm going to end up getting to it. I also had, actually I had 3. God, I'm like so, like I feel like I'm doing so well, but like my March TBR was like just out the window for a lot of it. I just read like half the books. I had to read When Villains Rise by Jana Darling, which is book 2 of the Anna Hears in a Love duet. I was supposed to read that in February. I never got to it. That'll definitely be an April book. And I wanted to read, I think it was Sing You Home by Ava Hunter. Was the first book of the Nashville Star series. That was for a read-along that has long since ended. I probably am not going to get to that one. I think that's one's just going to be one that's put aside. I don't really have any interest in reading it anymore because I was just going to read it for the read-along, and then it's like way past that now. So we're just going to put that one to the side. We have The Twisted, Dead, finished Daisy Jones and the Six. And that's gonna be it for like the rest of my actual March TBR. It's the 28th. I don't think I'm gonna read. Maybe. I'm not gonna say never. Maybe. I may be able to read the Twisted Ones and finish Daisy Jones. Maybe. Depending on how tomorrow goes. Thursday I'm probably not gonna have any time except maybe a little bit in the morning. And then Friday, I don't know, maybe. Maybe if I don't get distracted by other things, which could very, very well happen. But yeah, okay, I'm gonna go. This update was super, super freaking long. Good morning. I'm wearing the same shirt because it's the next morning and I'm gonna paint in it. I know my voice is very echoey. But I brought you upstairs last night to charge, so I figured I'd give you a little bit of a glimpse of the progress I'm doing, and you can see my painting companion who's been with me the last couple days. He's like super cute and affectionate. So, this is the library currently. The books are over there. Which is going to turn into my bedroom, which is an interesting change because I measured and the bed is kind of, I'm going to put the bed where the chair is, but it's going to leave some really weird room left over. But this is why I chose, instead of just keeping my bedroom and putting him in a different room, because this room connects. Like there's the hallway. This room connects. It's like a nursery sort of situation. And then this will be the new library. It's very I don't know if it looks small on the camera, but it is a little, I mean, it's a small room. It should be decent enough to fit what I need to fit in here. But it might be a little bit of a tight squeeze. We'll have to see when everything is moved, how it looks like. I have the stripes here because if you look at this wall, you see how they have these like divots in them for the paneling. They're a bitch to go over with like I'm using a roller, but it's really a pain to try to get in that groove. So I went through and just did it with a brush, all of the, except for up there because I couldn't reach, but so that way I can just go over with the roller real quick. That's probably what took a majority of my time yesterday. And then I bought new outlets. Again, I told you this house is super old, so a lot of them do have the actual covers over the outlet, but again, you'll notice these are 2-prongers. They're on the floorboard and they're sideways. Most outlets now are up here, and you have more of them in a room. So there's 2 of these in this room. There's one here, and there's one over on that wall. So I bought new GFCI, whatever those outlets are that have the trigger, the switch in them. So I bought new ones of those to replace these at least. It's like 7 a.m. right now. So probably today I'll turn the power off and switch those out. I did the ones in the library, so I have done them before. I've changed out light switches. Like I'm learning some things as I go. Electricity is a little with me because, you know, you can get shocked. But I do turn the power off. And I found out that almost this entire upstairs is on 1 breaker, which isn't good, but at least I figured it out, right? And then I have to figure out what to do. I know I saw somewhere that you can get like I don't know if it's just an extension cord is what you get, but like you can get something because my bookshelves are gonna be on this wall. So the other outlet is down in there. It's over there. That one's actually on the wall. I don't know, listen. I don't know who in this house got electricity and who did it, but anyway, the outlet is gonna end up being behind a shelf. And when you only have 2 outlets in an entire room, it's not ideal. So I'm gonna try to figure out if I can, after I change it out, obviously, because it's has no thing on it. And someone cut out, I don't know if you can see it, when they cut out the paneling around it, it is not at all even. Can you see that? Like, I don't know what they were thinking. You can't even put a thing around. I don't know. I'm gonna try. We'll try and see what happens, but it could be a disaster. Like I said, this house is just, I don't want to keep saying it, it's old. There's excuses for things. That's the one excuse for things. It's old. I don't know who touched it beforehand, but it's old, and it's got this like horrible paneling. It's really a pain to paint over. Because there's gonna be a bookshelf there, I'm gonna try to figure out if I can get something to connect to it. Even if it's an extension cord or something, so I can get at least power to it, like run it along the wall or something around like the back side of the shelves. I don't know, I'm gonna try to figure out something because I can't afford to have outlets blocked. I mean, I don't think I'm gonna have I don't know if my computer is gonna be in here or not. I don't think my desk will fit in here. I don't know, again, I'll have to see when I start moving things, what all is gonna fit and what's not. I'm spitballing, and I shouldn't be doing that in a vlog because that makes it way long, but, so this is probably gonna be a 2-parter. I'm just gonna say that right now. So yeah, I'm gonna see if my headphones are charged, and then I'm gonna pick an audiobook, which is probably gonna be, again, book 3 of the Scoundrels of St. James, which is Surrender to the Devil. Anyway, I'm gonna finish painting. Oh, and my little painting buddy, the last couple days, because this is, again, the cat room. Say hi, Max. Hi. Oh, I know. He's such a lover. He hates Amber though, so he doesn't come out because he doesn't like her. But he's such a sweet lover boy. Max. Hi, Max. I was like standing over here, like doing the window frame and stuff. And he was just, I had my arm like holding to balance myself, and he was just rubbing on my hissy. That's what he was doing as I'm trying to paint. He's a sweet little boy. He's also the naughty little boy that gets, like, if the dogs aren't downstairs, he'll get on like top of the fridge and try to push the fridge open, or he'll open cabinets. I have video of him opening cabinets. He's a little stinker. He's a little smart little boy. Sophie wants to come in here, but she won't because she can't because Amber will get upset. So, yeah. I don't know the other thing is I gotta figure out what to do with like this tree. Like, it may stay in here. If there's room, I'll just leave it in here. But I gotta take the boxes are still in here. I gotta take the box. Excuse me, I don't want your butt. I have to rearrange everything more efficiently. So I'm gonna go and get started, and this will probably be the end of part 1 to this vlog. I think reading 2 books is more than enough for a vlog for me. Normally I just maybe read 1, but it's only been a few days. So all right, that's gonna be the end of part 1. And I guess I'll start part 2 once I finish this room. All right, well, I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.